The UPMC sports medicine experts in Central PA are here to help keep you in the game and improve your quality of life, no matter your age or activity level. Visit upmc.com/Central PA SportsMed to learn more.
Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Pennsylvania High School Football Report. I am Brian Linder. Dan Sostek is not here. Eric Epler's not here. But we do have a special guest. I'm here with CD East head coach, Lance Deane. Lance, my man, you've had a lot going on, and I want to get to some of that. But I also want to talk about your football program, too. First of all, man, one of the stories that people might not know around the state that I've really thought was a great thing, speaks volumes about what you guys are trying to do over there. I know when you came in, you started having the guys put on suits and stuff to go to
Yes,
games. And
absolutely.
yeah, and then Hager stepped in, right, and helped suit you guys up. Kind of tell us that story real quick, if you will, and what you guys got going on with the program from that aspect. I think it's pretty neat.
Yeah, absolutely. So our defensive coordinator actually was his idea, Coach Key Cox Cowan. He was big on just wanting to have our kids dress up for games, and me just coming in with that, I was a big supporter of that. And it was two-phase for us. One, we just wanted our kids to be mentally prepared and ready to stand on business from that aspect, and then more importantly, just trying to teach them how to carry themselves as young men, how to dress up, how to tuck in shirts, how to put on a tie, just how to carry yourself as young men. We ended up doing that my second year, and then a local news station picked it up. Then I think it was posted on like social media, mainly like Twitter. And then somehow, some way, all the way out in California, excuse me, Hagar, they seen it on social media, and when they seen it on social media, they reached out, asked if they could come in, measure our students or some of our coaches and get them customized suits, and record it and get some documentation and stuff. So it was just a pretty cool and neat opportunity. They came from California and just provided a lot for our kids, donated, and it's something that we're extremely thankful for. Got some national exposure. And I think it was just a cool opportunity for our kids as they embrace something new.
Yeah, if you guys are listening, look around social media. You can find that out there. There's a pretty neat commercial, I would say, is what I would call it, where they show the CD's kids, getting suited up and stuff. And it's really, man, I thought it was impressive for your guys, and it was great to see them come through and hook you guys up a little bit like that. But you guys had a lot of neat things going on at CD East. I know you came in; it's kind of been a roller coaster where you've had some wins and loss success, and then you've had some tough
Yeah.
years. You've always, I think, done a pretty good job, though. One of the neater things I've seen is you've done a good job, Lance, of finding these guys. I know you talk about 1 year can change your life. You're
Right.
finding these guys and getting them out for like the first year of playing football
Yeah.
and getting them into college. For instance, Vincent Carroll Jackson,
Yeah.
who is played 1 year, guys, at CD East. Big kid, what is he, 6'5", 280, Lance?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Lance gets him out there. Now he's at Nebraska, guys. And Auntie and Neil, I think, is another kid. Wasn't he one of the kids that
Well, he played a little bit over a year. But then my first year, we also had Tyrell Ford, who's now defensive back at St. Francis as well.
tell us about that process a little bit? Obviously, that's recruiting the hallways a little bit. And I think it's pretty neat that you guys have had some success finding guys and getting them that 1 year, getting them into school.
Yeah, I got to give a lot of credit to one, the coaches. I think I have a neat coaching staff that does a good job developing our kids on and off the field. And then two, just the kids are just buying in. We say a lot to our kids, literally just show up. If you can show up consistently, we'll do everything else as far as just putting you in a position to grow on and off the field. So, just those kids is trusting in us, and trusting in the process. I think is just half the battle. And then, I think we try to carry ourselves as much like a college program preparation wise as we can, as far as developing our kids physically and mentally. And I think, that's where some of that immediate success will come. And even with some of our kids that have had the opportunity to go play college football, a lot of our kids are mentally and physically prepared, as much as you can be, obviously going into college football, because I think some of the ways and things that we do to help develop our kids here.
Lance, like I said, what year is this now for you at CDs?
So this would be year 4 here.
Year 4. So, like I
Yeah.
said, you've had some good years. You've had some lean years, wins too.
Yes.
Wins, losses, some tough ones.
Yeah.
Where are you at with the program right now? What's this whole process been like of trying to You were trying to build this program up. I think they had like one loss the year before you. I mean, one win the year before you came.
Yeah. So actually, the year before I came, we didn't have any wins. Our first year, as you know, like we came out pretty hot. There was a point in time we were like week 7, week 8, top 5 in the state in 6A football. But like I said, literally following that year, and like I've been saying, literally, is when you're trying to come in and establish a culture, it's a process, and that can't be established in 1 year, 2 years, regardless, of the success or lack thereof. So I think where we're at is we're finally turning over as far as we are having the same kids. I came in, and then after year 1 we had 26 kids graduate. Then year 2, had a fresh new group basically, and then year 3 had somewhat, but now it's like that group that's been around is somewhat the older group now. But also got a good mix of young kids as well. So from a language standpoint, we're not starting over. The expectation, the standard, we're just starting to kind of just get better and grow with it instead of, reteaching it necessarily. So I just think we're in that position where we turn the corner now, honestly. We got a good group coming back, great leaders, um, decent amount of linemen that have experience. So there's no excuse for us not to compete at a high level.
You're in a division that's getting tougher, though. I mean, it was
Yeah, for sure.
already one of the toughest in the state.
Listen, I tell coaches it's the best conference in the state. That's just what it is in division. That's may call it biased, may call it honest, but that's one I'm willing to live with. That is the top conference and division in the state for sure.
Yeah, so for people that don't know, Bishop McDevitt's coming into the Mid-Penn Commonwealth where CD East is. Central Dauphin's there. Harrisburg's there. You guys are getting ready to turn the corner. You almost got to be ready to turn the corner, right? I mean, you coached at Bishop McDevitt. You've played. You play against Harrisburg. You play against Central Dauphin, and those teams in the Commonwealth.
Yeah.
When you say it's the best, you think it's the best division in the state. What's it? What's it like coaching this league? And you guys are turning the corner as a program. What do you got to do to really get up there and really throw punches with those guys?
I think we have the ability. I know that for sure, and I don't doubt that or second guess that. But when we're talking about our conference and our division, I think what makes it, unique and different than a lot of other conference and divisions, not to knock them, but I just think top to bottom, the sense of physicality and competitiveness. There is no off week. We now got 9 teams in our conference. So we get one out of conference game, and we play a good York team. So there is no tune ups or nothing that take a week off. Everybody's giving their best punch every week. So I just think, when we're talking about our conference and our division, it's just that physical, that grit and that nastiness. And, that's what you're going to see week in and week out from teams in this division.
When we look at your team, one of the guys who jumps out, obviously, is young linebacker Zach Brown. Got a handful of college offers.
Yeah.
Dan Sostek, who's not here today, really loves him. He's been to a couple of your games. His film's good. Tell us about that kid real quick, what you're seeing from him. I know you're really high on him.
Yeah, Zach Brown, man, he's a good kid first and foremost, man. Extremely respectful, extremely passionate. I just think he's finally taking that step as a young man, and he's embracing being that leader for this team. He does a lot of different things, man. Just his ability. I tell coaches all the time, just the things that he's able to do for us. He plays H back, he plays receiver. If we really wanted to, he could play running back for us. He plays linebacker, he plays D line. So just that ability and at our level to be able to do those things is extremely impressive. But I'm just excited to watch him take that next step, and watch him just continue to grow and progress physically and mentally. So it's definitely should be an exciting year for him as an individual and as our team in general as he leads our defense.
The UPMC sports medicine experts in Central PA are here to help keep you in the game and improve your quality of life, no matter your age or activity level. Visit upmc.com/Central PA SportsMed to learn more.
I know coaches don't like to do this, man, but is there a sleeper name? You always seem to have a sleeper at CDs. Like I said, one of those kids who comes up from nowhere, the 1-year kid.
Yeah.
Sleeper name for us to watch out there?
Yeah, we have a kid, Leon Parsons. He's a kid that'll play running back, slot safety for us. He's a kid that I'm extremely excited for. He's just a kid that, I just think, he's next up in that 1 year can change your life aspect, man. Great kid, extremely hardworking. So, I'm just extremely excited to see, the work he's been able to put in. And I think I'm going to go out on a limb and say it right now that he has the ability to be one of the best players in the state, and I truly believe that. That's not me, just saying that to say it. I think I have a good eye of what talent looks like in this area and what it looks like in the state, and he has everything that it takes to be just that.
Well, I mean, I think you got a good eye above all of that too. I mean, you mentioned Parsons. I mean, is there any relation there to Micah?
And actually, no, it's Parson. Yeah,
Oh,
so
Parsons.
it's
See,
Parsons.
close enough, man. You've had That's the other thing I kind of wanted to lean into with you and get to you with you here. For a lot of people who don't know, outside of coaching high school football, Lance has really kind of made a name for himself. We've written a couple stories where we call him Micah Parsons Guru because Micah Parsons called him his guru, and Lance has had a great relationship with Micah and worked with him pretty much since he was at Penn State. And he's worked with a lot of other guys too. We just did a story where he was up working with Abdul Carter at Penn State, and I know he's worked with Rico Scott, the Bishop McDevitt receivers going to Alabama, and Alex Herbie, PA's passing king, the kid from Steel High who's going to the Navy. Um, I guess first of all, let me ask you this: uh, when's the last time you worked with Parsons?
I'm actually going down there in the next week and a half here, so that'll be kind of the first time we actually kind of get back to it since the season ended. So we'll get out there here around Easter time.
We've talked about this before, but what's it like? I think Micah got out there. Micah's got the media thing going. I think he's doing really well with that. I tell people I
Yeah.
think he's going to be bigger than Strahan when it's all done because every time I watch him, I think he gets better and better. But I think people, people get talking all the time. That guy, like, it's funny. We predicted on this podcast when he played in that Celebrity All Star game. I said he's
Yeah.
going to win MVP, and they were like,
Right.
everybody's like, you don't understand. Micah wants to win everything. He's a competitor.
Literally.
What's it like working with that guy? What makes him special? I know we've had you on here before and asked you that, but I like for people to hear it.
Yeah, no, I mean, like you kind of hit it right on the nose. He's competitive. He's the most competitive person that I ever been around. And that's just who he is. Rather we're playing a board game, we're playing horse and basketball. Rather we're working out. Like he's extremely competitive, and like I said, that's who he is. But it's just as crazy as it sounds. In some ways, it's just like working out with anybody else. And I say that to say because he embraces the standard so much, and I think that's what makes our relationship and our friendship, so genuine. Is that there is no switch up of like, okay, you have some guys, unfortunately, they work with big time players, and the standard isn't really much of the standard anymore, or there's so much about being a diva that they kind of get away from what got them there. Where with us, there's only one way. We're going to do this the right way. And when he doesn't, or if he doesn't, it's addressed. And, he responds to that. So it's like, I would address him the same way I would address a 7-year-old that's doing a drill right or wrong, or a high school or anything in between. So for somebody of that stature to just be accepting and willing to that, I think that just kind of speaks volume to who he is. And just, his loyalty. I always speak on that. He could train with anybody in the world. And, obviously I'm just one of many a part of his team that actually has the opportunity to work with him. But that's always something I would respect. Just have an opportunity to be part of his team that works with him. At this point in his career where he can go train with anybody. So I think that speaks volume of what he thinks of me, and the relationship we built. But I think it's even more exciting to really think when we're talking about him as a football player, is that his best football is still ahead of him. So when we're talking about what he has the ability to accomplish, the sky is still the limit there for him. So I'm super excited to watch him just continue to grow because I know he wants to, and there's still a lot of things out there he wants to accomplish individually and as a team as well.
I know you've been working with a lot of guys, obviously. What's it like, like when Alex Herbie, when you work with that guy, I
Mm-hmm.
know he's extremely smart. He led obviously he set all the Pennsylvania passing records in the state that's got probably the best quarterback group ever.
Yeah.
Names like Unitas and Marino and whatnot. Um, when you work with a kid like that, first of all, tell us about him. And I think he's got all the tools. He's a smart kid. What do you see from him when you work with him?
So I also got to coach him because his freshman year was the only year I was out at Stilton when we won a state championship his freshman year. And I think the main important like the main thing I've been impressed with him essentially is his growth. Like he has literally gotten better year after year. So just being able to constantly grow while still having success, that just speaks volume to the type of work he has put in. And he's also like a natural leader. He's one of the best leaders I've ever been around. He's a kid that steps in the room, and when he steps in the room, he kind of demands the respect of the room. And, that's just an ultimate characteristic of any good quarterback. So just knowing that he has that, I know he's going to do great things at Navy, because you can't really teach those things. Some guys just have it in them to be that leader and be that alpha, and he embraces doing that.
The Penn State fans might find it interesting that you recently worked out with Abdul Carter. Like I said, we wrote
Yeah.
about that some. Obviously, having worked out with Micah Parsons and him having the success he had, you and I talked a little bit about that. Just in your little bit of work with him, what was that like? What did you see from that guy?
Yeah, it's actually been neat and funny. I actually been up Penn State a few times lately. Working out with Curtis Jacobs as well, who will probably get drafted here. And then Kevin Winston Jr. was a starting safety for them, who I think will be next year's draft will be a top, 3-round pick safety, or one of the first safeties picked off the board. Excuse me. But it's been pretty neat working with all those guys. But in Abdul's case, I'm not big into comparing guys. Everybody's different. But there's those rare guys. And I think, when we're talking about Micah and Abdul, to be able to move at that speed, at that size, is almost scary in a way. In that sense of athleticism. So not only do they have a sense of athleticism and explosiveness, but they also have that sense of change of direction. So you have some guys that have that natural get off, but when you are able to bend, you're able to change direction at that size. I think that's when you take it to the next level. And those are like one of few guys that can literally play in the NFL. D line or linebacker, just based off of their ability and their size. And you have guys that are very great pass rushers, or very good, at one thing or two things. But these guys can literally make a living at the highest level of football playing D line or linebacker, which to be in that small percentage of people is just crazy.
How fun has this been for you, Lance? I mean, look, it's a job training people. You got to get them right. Results based. And when you go and you work out with Michael Salon and he has success, people probably going to be calling your number, right?
Yeah.
But how fun is it too, just to be able to work with these elite athletes? We didn't really talk a lot about Rico Scott here, but big names and elite athletes, and watch what they can do and how different they are. How fun is this for you?
Yeah, man, this process has been, it's been a blessing. It's been a process, just to watch my growth. And then the reality of it is, it took for a guy like Michael to really believe in me, for me to get the opportunity in the spotlight. So for that, I'll forever be thankful and I'll forever appreciate that. However, at the same time, I think, I spent a lot of time definitely as of lately, not only in appreciating it and understanding it as a blessing, but also learning how to separate that. That's my skill and not my purpose. I feel like my purpose are to impact, on the people that I meet, especially our younger youth. Because the reality of it is, one day I'm not going to be on this earth anymore. And if someone is standing at my funeral and the first thing they're talking about is Lance the trainer, then I feel like I haven't done enough. Not that that couldn't and shouldn't be mentioned, but that's my skill. My purpose is a little bit more. And I think that's what, there's times where I tie those into, one. And I think that kind of, is something that would always be special for me and kind of keep me going, essentially.
There might, man, you keep getting these calls, man. There might be a time where you might have to choose.
Yeah. And when that time comes, if that time comes, I'll pray on it and I'll make, the best decision that, seems fit for me and my family. But, right now, I'm happy, you know, two beautiful young ones. I couldn't ask for much more right now. So, I'm just extremely humble. I'm extremely blessed with the opportunities I have been given. And then, we just let everything play out and we just pray on it and we kind of go from there.
Well, listen, man, I know you got to get out of here. And for people listening, if you're really looking to maybe try to connect with somebody or just follow the journey of a bright young coach in the state who's also working with some top-notch athletes. Maybe want to see what he can do training-wise. Tell him how to find you on social media and stuff, Lance.
Yeah, you can find me on social media. Lance717 is my Instagram. Lance Deane is my Twitter. And then Lance Deane, there's an E on the end of Deane, by the way. That's a common mistake. Is my Facebook as well. You guys are more than welcome to reach out. I train people of all age, all sports. So, come see what it's all about and, learn from one of the best. So look forward. If anybody's looking to get some work in, I'm not hard to find.
Well, Lance, we appreciate you, man. Well, everybody, that was Central Dauphin East head coach Lance Deane. Lance and I have had a pretty good relationship since he took over at CD East. A bright young coach in the state. He really took over and needed to, had to rebuild that program. Like I said, he's had some good years, wins and losses wise. He's had some lean years, wins and losses wise. One thing that they've really done good at CD East, though, is they've done the things that are sort of bigger than wins and losses. They've put kids into college. They found these kids like the Vincent Carroll Jacksons of the world, and the kid he's talked about he has at St. Francis. Got him in there, when they weren't playing football. He got them to come out and play football, and that 1 year changed their life, and got them into college. And then obviously the thing with the Hager and the suits, I mean, that's pretty cool. Then you go into training these big time athletes, Micah Parsons, being the one, and follow him on social media because you guys will see it really speaks volumes that Micah is potentially going to be the highest paid NFL defensive player in the history of the game, and when he gets his new contract, and he's flying Lance Deane, out to Texas and across the country to work out with him, and so he's a good follow, and if you can get in, out in Western PA, I think 2/10 does a great job of training here in Central PA. Lance Deane's a guy who's obviously, popping and doing some good things. And now he's working with some guys down at State College and Penn State. So there's something there. Right, Dan? Oh, that's right. Dan didn't show up for the podcast. Right, Eric? Oh, that's right. Eric didn't show up for the podcast. It's a one-man show, everybody. Do you know what? I'm not even going to tell you how to find them on social media. You just go to @SportsB by B Linder. All right. And you know what? You could check out, you need to find our producer, Megan. I'll plug her. You can find her on social media and give her a follow. Right. And, but check us out on PennLive.com too. We're in basketball playoffs actually wrapped up for us yesterday with Penn State championships. We do obviously a lot of stuff outside of football, but we got a lot of football coming too. So until next week, see you guys later.
The UPMC sports medicine experts in Central PA are here to help keep you in the game and improve your quality of life, no matter your age or activity level. Visit upmc.com/Central PA SportsMed to learn more.